Welcome back to the Roundtable. I'm Sarah LeDuc. Yaddo is a nonprofit retreat for artists in Saratoga Springs, New York, with a mission to nurture the creative process by providing an opportunity for artists to work without interruption in a supportive environment. Notoriously private for the sake of the artists and their work, we want to take the opportunity today to share some information about some public-facing events on the horizon. The inaugural Yaddo Golf Invitational, with special guest and honorary chair, 17-time LGPA winner Dottie Pepper, is taking place today at 1 p.m. Yaddo Summer Benefit, taking place on June 22nd, will feature a musical performance by Yaddo artist and honorary guest the Lazors, and the Yaddo Gardens reopen on June 11th, and Yaddo will host Art of Wellness yoga classes in June and July. To tell us about these special events and more, we welcome Yaddo President Elena Richardson and Director of Special Events Angie Schlansker. Hello, both. Welcome to the Roundtable.
Hi, Sarah. Thanks for having us.
Happy to be here.
It's so great to have you in. I guess let's start with what's happening today. Tell me about the Golf Invitational, please.
We are so excited about this, and it's honestly not just because I'm Scottish that we're excited about it. We have a wonderful new colleague, a woman called Kat Trippinney, and we were brainstorming. So much of the excitement of this summer is the realization of ideas we had during the pandemic. And when we had that forced break and were able to think about how we relate to the community, how we can best serve our artists. And this was wonderful because Kat basically said, yeah, but there's lots of other people who maybe don't want to do yoga, who maybe don't want to come listen to a concert, but they like golf, and it's another way of engaging people and having fun. And we have our very kind neighbours at Saratoga National who then said, yeah, we should do this. Let's try it. So it was very much in that spirit of, again, coming out of the pandemic, where we thought, let's experiment. Let's see if people would like to do this. I'm delighted to say it's sold out. Apparently golf is indeed very popular. People like to golf in good weather. So we're hoping as today continues on that the weather gods cooperate. But so this is the first one. And Dottie Pepper is a dear friend of one of our dear friends, our board member, Madeline Pulver Jennings, whose father was one of Dottie's early coaches. So Dottie very, very generously said she would come home to Saratoga and help us out in this honorary role.
That's very exciting. Inaugural Yaddo Golf Invitational taking place this afternoon. It is sold out. As we mentioned, the next big event is the Summer Benefit. Tell us about this.
Well, this is Angie's baby, so I'll let Angie take this one.
This is one of the most beloved events of the Saratoga season. It really kicks off the whole summer. Over 300 people gather at the mansion, and we have a large, clear, tented event where people really flow in and out of the property. And what makes it so special is, one, it's a special opportunity for people to get to come to Yaddo.
Right.
Most of the time, it's really devoted to the artist, having time and space to create. So when people have the opportunity to come and be in the mansion and be on the grounds, the property feels so open and so welcome, and people just adore it.
Tell me about the artists performing at this year's benefit, the Lazors.
These two brothers are really quite something. They came to Yaddo and had been in residence, so it's Patrick and Daniel Lazur. They were coming off a very hit musical that they did, which was based in Cairo. Really talented young singer-songwriters, musical theatre guys. So they'd been to Yaddo for 2 days, had barely unpacked, and we closed because of the pandemic. So they were so good-natured. We, of course, managed to have them back. And they just very kindly have supported us. They did the podcast with us. They've been guests at other events. So when Angie contacted them about this, they immediately said yes. And I think people who haven't met them will just really adore them. They have incredible energy. They're funny. They're just two very sort of witty young guys who also produce wonderful music.
Angie, how did you decide to ask them to perform this year? Because I imagine there's no dearth of talent to approach.
It is a tough call every year, and we have a long list of people that we hope to have on the stage at the summer benefit, and their names have been floating for quite a bit of time. And so when kind of the stars aligned and the schedules worked out and they said yes, it just felt like a really big gift for all of us.
How do you work with them to develop the performance for the benefit?
The way we're working, I think, is very similar to how Yaddo works in general, which is that the artists really are left to their own devices to create something magical. And it is going to be a bit of a surprise for not just the guests, but for us as well.
We know that they like to use some multimedia elements, though. They often have projections. It ties into sort of film. So we think that will be the kind of surprise they bring with them, is that rather than just a simple stripped-down performance, which could be glorious in itself,
Of course.
They'll have some other elements that they're playing around with.
How do people attend the benefit?
So the best way is to go online to our website. And for the first time ever, we are offering early bird access. And that is available until the start, June 1st.
Okay. And then
So-
after that, prices go up a little, but
Just a
still
tiny
be there.
bit, but but I have to say people are very anxious to come onto the grounds, and we are close to being sold out.
I'm not surprised. Elena, what do you like about the summer benefit?
I love, in some ways, very much what Angie was also saying, the sense that it's how the house should be. The grounds in the house were supposed to be filled with people. They were supposed to reverberate with music and laughter and people saying cheers. So I've always loved that. And I also love the sense that within our job, which is to maintain a retreat and really create a bubble in which the world's leading artists do their best work, we also do really, really enjoy having the community come be with us. So this one night is special for that too. And sometimes I might be already on the grounds and just watching that sort of snake of cars come up the driveway, and you feel the energy change and you feel everybody understand how important Yaddo is and the role it plays in what I think of as the ecosystem of support for individual artists. And there we are, and we're bringing in an audience, we're bringing in friends and supporters, and it's a very special night that takes us back, I think, to Yaddo's origins. And in doing that, it really does protect our future. It gives us the support we need to keep going.
Yaddo, of course, has beautiful grounds and gardens, which will reopen this summer as well with Art of Wellness yoga classes. Tell me about that, Angie.
This is something that we started last year, and it was a program really, again, an idea coming out of the pandemic of how can we reconnect with people, but really how can people reconnect with themselves? And people, when they come to visit the gardens, there is a reverence just walking through the gates that they feel, and you immediately feel kind of transported. And we thought, what better way than to tie yoga into this? And so it was a great success. Every session that we had was really well attended, and very little, only word of mouth, people knew about it. But this year we made a little bit more of a concerted effort. We've been doing a little bit more advertising, and we've got incredible instructors. A favorite of Elena is going to be starting us off in June, Claudia.
Yeah, Claudia Bibo, who also teaches in town a lot and is superb. And another thing that we thought about was the more we can explain and allow other people to experience the positive aspects of retreat, the better job we're doing. So we have been thinking about ways to have the public part of Yaddo, the gardens, be in service to the community, where people can come and either take a nature walk or they can just sit quietly and look at the fountains. So this, in a way, was an extension of that too, where we thought we do understand in our own lives how important it is to take a break, to retreat, to breathe. And late in life, I've gotten a little bit into yoga, so that all tied together. So I will be taking class.
Great. You mentioned a few moments ago, Shadow Yaddo, the podcast, is returning for its third season. Tell us what we need to know about the pod.
Well, that too has been one of the little engines that could. So, again, it really is true that all of these things we tried as experiments during the pandemic. Shadow Yaddo was one of the ones that took. So we've built it up quite well, and it's a way for us to bring voices that people might not otherwise hear. So we actually try not to be part of the sort of publicity cycle for artists, to take it a little bit sideways and do pairings sort of that are unexpected, or to bring in people doing work that you might not immediately think was connected to Yaddo. So people writing about science, for example, with all of the AI conversations right now, Yaddo has various writers, like somebody I love, Brian Christensen, who's written about algorithms and AI for years now. So we had Brian on the show, on the podcast. The one that we're launching with, I just love, because it has this sort of wackiness that I think is really essential to Shadow Yaddo. And it's two artist friends from Mexico City who've been in residence. One of the projects they do involves vultures. So I won't do any spoilers, but if people listen in, they can understand what it feels like to behave like a vulture.
Okay. How's the application process been going? If you have a lot of too many people, maybe.
This was really incredible to us. So we opened the portal last year. January was our deadline. We had 1,600 applicants and counting,
wow.
Which, just to give people a sense of scale, that's only one application period. We have another one, August 1st is another deadline. And at most, with current capacity, we can take, say, 240 artists. It was also incredible that it was a very talented pool. So this was not a sort of easy chore to sort of sort through these kind of numbers. I was actually very moved, because it also, I think, demonstrated the need artists have right now. You know, people haven't recovered from the gig economy, teaching jobs haven't come back. So one of the ways we interpreted this enormous outpouring of applications looking for space, looking for time, looking for support, was to go back to the sense of need that it represented. And we were also very moved by people can ask for some support, financial support, in the form of access grants. Those numbers were through the roof too. So in the midst of being very sort of giddy, excited about the summer and everything wonderful that is going on, we had the reality check of the need that is our core mission and how intense that is right now.
Remind us how you, with a team of others, assess the applications and decide who gets to come. I mean, it seems like there's so many considerations.
That was sort of part of what was overwhelming, is how do you fairly evaluate when you have that number of applicants? How many peer judges do you find? But in simple terms, there are 5 panels, and the artists who apply pre-select who they consider peers, who they would like to evaluate their work. And then it's numeric. It's based on a judging score 0 to 5. You always have several eyes on it. It always changes. So if you'd applied before, it wouldn't be the same people looking at your work this time. So people put in a work sample, and the first round is anonymous. So there's no real sense other than the work of what somebody's potential is.
Has anybody ever been familiar enough with someone's work that even with the anonymous submission they could tell who it was? Of course.
Yeah. And of course with
the
some
art world
genre,
is big and small.
The one that we both laugh about but clearly defeats being anonymous is performance, because you see the person. It's like we know who it is.
Is there anything else coming up or going on that we should address before I let you guys get back to work?
There's a lot going on for us in the city also and around the nation. But we really do, in terms of events, For obvious reasons, the crown jewel is the Yaddo estate and mansion. So most of the activity, especially for the summer, is there. And then if you're kind enough to ever invite us back, we could tell you about the fall offerings.
I mean, don't worry, we will. Yaddo President Elena Richardson and Director of Special Events Angie Schlansker, thank you both so much for coming, and it's been great to catch up with you.
Thank you, Sarah.
You're listening to The Roundtable on